You start out your presentation by telling people what it is you're going to say. You tell them what it was that you said you're going to say, and you remind them what you said in your briefing. And briefings were built down in three parts so that you had a one, a two, a three. Welcome to Mastering Your Message. We believe that you have a message and that people need to hear it. So if you want help getting that message crafted, getting that message battle tested, and getting that message out there, we can help you get it all together. Visit the website masteringyourmessage.net. Give us the information we need, and we'll get you set up with classes and coaching to help you get that message mastered. My name is Jay Coogan-Payne. I want to thank you for joining us for the podcast today. Today, we will present to you, as promised, the rule of three. And the rule of three is a very simple, very basic, but very powerful rule for presentation. In fact, it's known as the rule of three as a classic writing principle, literally the beginning, middle, and end of storytelling. It works by simply offering up ideas or pieces or presentations or stories in threes, three distinct modes, three distinct things that allow you to rhythmically and just mentally figure them out, because you're expecting the start, the middle, and the end in that order. You're not expecting them to be out of order. You're not expecting three or four different scenes in the middle to break up the end. If you get something where you begin it, you're inside of what's going on, and then you get to the end, it feels natural, it feels normal, it feels like it totally makes sense without any manipulation of the information. So let's break that down a little further in ways that you can use the rule of threes. Now, this is how it's more or less taught in a business formal fashion. I'll get to the way I was initially taught the rule of threes in presentation later on. But this is how it's initially taught. When you're given your three things, one way you want to do is offer up the takeaway. One piece of the narrative, one piece of your story, one piece of your presentation is what you're actually supposed to take away from this. What is it you're actually supposed to learn? How is this going to help you in the end? You follow that up with how you actually do that thing that you just said, how the takeaway is going to be put together, the instruction on how to do the thing. And then you follow that up with a narrative, a story, an example of how someone, somewhere, something happened that took that takeaway and went through the line of the instructions, either for good or for ill, to show you how you need to follow the instructions for good or ill. Now, to go really, really classic, I learned in my basic speech writing back when I was going through Air Force training about the rule of threes in our presentations, because they were all meant to come out in three ways. Three things are supposed to happen. You start out your presentation by telling people what it is you're going to say. There's your beginning. You tell them what it was that you said you're going to say. There's your middle. And the end is pretty simple. You remind them what you said in your briefing. And briefings were built down in three parts so that you had a one, a two, a three. So everything was all rhythmic, everything was all simple, everything was all ready to go. On the rare occasion where you didn't have three, you didn't go up to like 5 or 6. You had maybe one big message to get through, or maybe two big messages to get through, but it was always based down on threes. And if you had more than 3 points, you need to make one of those points a part of another point. And you had more than infinite amount of points, if you will. So you had 8 points. You need to break them down and then put them together so they all fit together into 3 points. 3 is a magic number, a very magic number when it comes to presentations, because if you give a presentation in the semblance of threes and stay within the rule of threes, most people will easily take on the information without any hesitation, because it just simply works. I can't tell you how it works. I can't tell you why initially it works. It just works. It's one of those things that you flip a switch, the light comes on, and if it doesn't, there's something really wrong with the wiring. If you present things out in simple themes, no less than 3 themes, and if you're going to go with 3 themes, you always do it in that form. You always tell them in the presentation, here's what's going to be presented in this lesson. You give them the details of the lesson, and then you give them a conclusion of all the main finer points of the lesson. And that fits along with the classic teaching of giving the takeaway, the instruction, and the narratives. It's not so amazing why it's used so often in writing, not so amazing why it's used so often in speech writing. It's not so amazing why it's used so often. Just like in the last podcast, we talked about repetition being the key. The rhythmic nature of the threes and using that sort of teaching style is another way that repetition works, and another way that shows how the rhythmic nature of performing, of teaching, of showing is such a great way to get things through. Now, we'll go into more deeper detail about rhythmic natures of teaching in the next lesson, so make sure you're here for the next podcast. But of course, thank you for being a part of this episode. Now that I've delivered my message today, check out the website masteryourmessage.net. We're going to help you create, craft, and of course, master your message. There are free materials as well as paid courses and personal coaching services to choose from, but we can't help you get started on your journey to message perfection until you visit us at masteryourmessage.net. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave a rating or review, and share it with some friends who are also looking to master their messages.